Welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards. It's me, Uncle E. That is my partner, the journalist Sincere. And today we have none other than hip hop artist, producer, a man who's been around for a while, man, killing the underground. Some would even say some of your MC's favorite rapper. We have none other than Donny Goines, man. Thank you, Donny Goines, for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you for the love. Thank you for joining. Thank you for allowing me to join. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So before we talk about, what Donny Goines is doing these days in 2024, let's take it back a little bit, man. If you could tell us a little bit about growing up, teenage years, where were you born and raised?
Well, I'm talking into the mic. Forgive me. I got to talk straight right. I got to say
cool. It's cool.
But with that being said, I grew up in New York City. I'm a New Yorker. Wherever I go, I'm a New Yorker. I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up a lot, also in Philly, I should say as well. I was back and forth between Philly, New York, Bronx, and Harlem, being shuffled around a lot. Long story short, both my parents were incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? I was like going through the system, things like that. And, it was tough times, you know what I'm saying? And we were coming up and, I came up, school. If you know New York, I went to Taft High School. You know what I'm saying? At the time, it was a very crazy high school. If you know New York City, I was in New York City before like all the glitz and glamour of 40 Deuce. Like when it was like real grimy and ugly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the life that I'm talking about. I don't look as old as I am, but yeah, I've been around a bit.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, how was life for you, growing up? You just mentioned that both your parents were incarcerated. How did that affect you? And, what were some of the things that you might have been into at the time?
Well, my parents were locked up both. Like my father was locked up for a long span of time. I'll elaborate. I didn't even know my real father until I was like probably 10 years old. I thought another man was my father. God bless the dead, and it's interesting because, like those things, you don't know how they affect you until hindsight, so I could go on I could talk an interview about that whole situation right there. But the reality is, it definitely affected me. And then my mother, she had to do a stint and like we ended up going, to my grandmother's and we had to be raised by our grandmother for a couple of years. And it really just, changed things. You don't get that sort of maternal, paternal love that you need as a child to sort of foster in certain ways. You miss out on certain lessons and I can go, like I said, on and on and on. And there was a lot of like lack in my household. We came up in poverty. We came up in the system, like doing food stamps, going on the cheese line, for real. So it was definitely challenging growing up. And that led me into a lot of chaos later on in my teenage years and things like that.
Do you have any hobbies and interests coming up?
Oh, I got too many. I say, honestly, my interests, a lot of them right now, I'm going to say currently, my interests are freestyling. I love the freestyle. It's part of hip hop, obviously, but specifically freestyling. I just been like really on a rampage with that because it just interests me how to do that on the fly. So that's one thing. Photography is another. I really love photography. I live in Hawaii currently. I'm very blessed. I live in Waikiki. It's beautiful out here. You know what I'm saying? I chill out. I just walk by sometimes, take pictures. It's always a scene out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. And I say that the last would be reading. Currently, I'm reading my favorite book, which is the Bible. So, I'm just really studying and like trying to get as much knowledge as I can from these materials. So those are my top 3 hobbies right now.
Right. Coming up in New York and Philly, what were some of your earlier musical influences before you got into music yourself?
Well, to be honest, I was a square before I knew hip hop. I didn't really I wasn't the kind of kid that was into music like that when I was young. It was like, it took a while for me to catch on. And to be real with you, the thing that caught my attention was Juicy, B.I.G. Like when I first heard that record, it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like something clicked, it was just like, I was like, man, this guy comes from a place where I come from. Cause you got to keep in mind, when I see him rapping, I'm on the avenue with 40 ounces. I'm on the avenue, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get too deep, but you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? We out there, you know what I mean? Like for real. So it was like, I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, man, you know, from pitching rocks to hip hop. I'm like, that's possible right there, you know? And it just made me really intrigued from that point on.
Gotcha. Yeah, we might bounce around a little bit, man.
So,
Don't mind. Because I do want to touch on something, because I saw that you coming up, you did have to battle with a lot of different kind of demons. You know, and I'm curious to how did you navigate through that? And while you were battling those demons, you know, how were you able to kind of juggle your interest in hip hop, or even before the interest in hip hop? Because I know you kind of had an interest in writing, you know, and poems.
mm-hmm.
Was that an outlet for you?
It's a good question. And the short answer is I dropped one, which was hip hop.
Okay.
Like, hip hop is beautiful and all that. Don't get me wrong, but you know, my life is more beautiful. So it's like I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm gonna get into it like specifically, but the bottom line is like, I remember, I'll give you an idea of vision, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember like 2012, I'm living in a penthouse. I got a penthouse. I grossed $250,000 this year. I'm like on MTV, BET. My last album sponsored by Rockaware. Like, I'm killing it, you know what I'm saying? And I remember going into that year, sitting in that penthouse alone, like reading a book, you know what I'm saying? Sitting there saying to myself, like, mad depressed and sad. Like, I'm like, this ain't what I pictured this to be. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it was very interesting. And like from there, I realized that, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you make, where you at, what you doing, whatever. It's like if you battling demons, you gotta really battle those demons before you take on anything else, you know? So it took a lot of honestly prodding. It wasn't like overnight. I was like, yeah, forget that, I'm gonna do this. But it took a lot of like convincing from my mother, family members, things like that, to be like, yo, listen, maybe you should take a break. Maybe you should like focus on your, you know, health, whatever. The best decision I've ever made in my life, by the way. I really will say that. So if anybody's ever dealing with any sort of depression, situations, anxiety, etc., take that as first and foremost. Handle that first. Everything else will be handled secondary.
Got you. So you did make some music, like you said, around that time. And what
I've always made music, by the way. I've never stopped making music. I just say like I stopped the industry. You know what I'm saying? I stopped the industry part of it. So that's what I meant by that. Meaning like you didn't see Donny at the party no more. You don't see Donny like submitting records anymore. You don't see Donny chasing anything. Donny's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. So, you know, and I'm just right now slowly re-emerging again. I'm just slowly coming back in again because again, I'm not chasing the spotlight, industry fame. I could care less for any of that. So that's where my mindset and heart is.
Got you. Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, it's kind of interesting because us as fans or people that just love music, for example, you're an artist and you're putting out music that I'm sure a lot of people love, you know, and listening, you're looking forward, and your music sometimes keeps other people going, right? It probably uplifts them. And we don't even sometimes take a moment to think that the person making the music might be going through something. And when they're not around, we're kind of like, oh, where's that? Because it leaves a void for us. But at the same time, man, so that's why you have a very interesting story. And I know, you know, we don't have to get too deep with it.
Nah, we can. Let me just keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? Like another reason why I left is because I came before all this like pro culture, pro mental health culture and all that. I was before that. When I'm going to the therapist and I'm on like, you know, serotonin, which is Zoloft for those people who don't know, or Klonopams or taking Ambien or whatever these cases, whatever I was doing, I'm looked at as a drug addict. I'm looked at as somebody who's crazy. I'm insane. In fact, I'll give you a short story. A very good friend of mine, I'm not going to like give his name out, but a very good friend of mine one day, you know, calls me. So, you know, I pick up the phone and I'm like sitting there and I hear his voice. So I know it's him. And he's usually busy. So I'm thinking like he's just busy. He's going to, you know, say something in a second. So I'm listening and he's like, he's talking to somebody. I can hear him. And he's like, yo, you know Donny, man. You know Donny when he take his crazy pills. You know what I'm saying? He started laughing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? That was the first time I ever felt stigma from like the suffering from mental health. You know what I'm saying? And like people don't realize like my mentor committed suicide. My son died. My wife was like in Canada. I was banned from the country. And like all I hear is people like make records and make 16s and whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like that stuff. You realize like life really takes you somewhere if you want to go. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like I had to fight a lot of demons, and I had to really question like what was important in life. Was it money? Was it validation? Was it this? Was it that? And I chose just being who I am today. So, you know, it is what it is.
Got you. Before I pass it to Sincere, how hard was it for you to come up with that conclusion that you had to sort of separate yourself and focus on you?
It took a couple of months. It took like a couple of months because, again, I told you about the medicine. I mentioned about the medicine in the penthouse. So fast forward, like I said, I'm 5 years in music right now. I'm killing it. People like, yo, this dude is the illest. He's coming up. This is before Cole. This is before Kendrick. These dudes, I remember a lot of them opened up for me, like Cole, shout out to Cole, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I'm standing there and I'm like, yo, this is crazy because I start having seizures. I start getting paranoid. You know what I'm saying? Like things just start collapsing within. You know what I mean? Like stuff that I'm thinking, I'm not even thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at the time, I'm in this penthouse and I got like a whole staff around me. I got team, I got money, I got whatever. But it's like, I'm so scared to come out the house because I'm scared I'm gonna have a seizure. You know, so it's like, I don't want to perform. I don't want to come out the house. I don't want to do nothing, you know? And then it's like, obviously money starts slowing up with that. So then it's like, I'm getting like more paranoid, more anxious, more whatever. And the bottom line is, you know, talking to my mother, she was like, I made a choice. It was one of the two things. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this cabin in Georgia and just be by myself and just chill for a while and just kind of just be on some whatever. Or I could go to Virginia with my parents and sort of like, you know, get help and sort of not worry about anything and whatever. So that's what I did. I went back to my parents' home, you know what I'm saying? I sat there and I chilled. And it was one of the most humbling things I had to do as an adult. You know, it was like coming back from, again, I told you, a penthouse to sleeping with my mom. It's definitely tough. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it took a lot of humility. It took a lot of like strength. And that's where I found God. That's where I really found, you know what I'm saying, my belief and things like that secure me now in my journey and walk. But at the time it was super challenging. And even then I didn't want to give it up. I was very much in a place I was like, you know, no, I don't want to do this. This doesn't make sense. I'm this talented. I'm doing this. Why should I do this? I just think that God humbles us in different ways and we all have different journeys. So stardom and that wasn't just my path. It just wasn't my path.
Gotcha.
You talked about being influenced by Biggie, Juicy around 94. What point did you start taking your writing serious and starting to think this was something that you'd like to pursue?
A decade later, like around 2005, I say. So I wasn't, to tell you the truth, even though that inspired me, I still looked at rappers kind of like as like movie characters. I didn't look at them as real. So I just was like, you know how you see a movie character, you be like, yeah, yo, shout the Terminator, but you ain't going home being like, yo, I want to be like the Terminator. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, like, whatever, this is all gimmicky. I'm not paying attention to this. And once in a while, obviously, things will peek through, Nas or Wu-Tang, whatever. But anyway, overall, that's how I felt. So fast forward, I was in the Navy. I did like that for a couple years. I was like, I had to get out the hood. So I came back to the hood after that, you know, and I'm just like, again, in a place where I don't know what to do, what's the next move, whatever. So one of my homies, he's from my neighborhood. He used to be like, yo, you got to just come rap with us. You got to come rap with us. And I'm like, I don't even rap like that. He's like, nah, yo, you a pretty boy of the group. You a pretty boy. Just come on. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's my homie Bigger Threat from Harlem. Shout out to Bigger Threat, you know, and like, I listened to him because he was signed to Dame Grease. I don't know if you know who that is or not. Okay, yeah, legend. You know what I'm saying? Though y'all know what we're talking about. So yeah, so he was signed to Dame Grease, and like at the time, I didn't know who Grease was. I didn't even rock with Grease. You know what I'm saying? I was like rocking with Bigger. So you know, but later on, long story short, Dame Grease executive produced my first project. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, bottom line, he was like, yo, you should do it. And then I started looking at it and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start taking this serious. And then like, I think the thing that he helped me get my name, whatever. I started writing in the studio, whatever. And then the thing that really made me believe was the Fade to Black documentary with Jay-Z. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I'm about to rap. I'm about to rap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I took it. You know what I'm saying? And 5 years later, God's will, you know what I'm saying? I'm literally performing in the showroom, Rockefeller showroom and all. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting there. People thought I was going to shine the Rock Nation, in fact. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know. It was just crazy times. A crazy life. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
So around this time.
You guys long-winded with that. Sorry.
No. It's okay, man.
At what point did you start getting them producing? Is this the same time that you started?
Nah. I wasn't into producing till like later on, much later. So like when I was like, I look back how spoiled I was as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like I was one of them dudes. Like I came in, I didn't know how to press play in the studio. I was like one of them kind of dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm like So all the interns, if the studio like manager wasn't there, the guy I worked with wasn't there. It was the interns pressing buttons, doing stuff, whatever. I wasn't into producing because I had all the producers, like the dope producers in the game. Everybody was submitting. Everybody, it was like hot. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really a matter of like beats. It was like who I'm picking to rock with. You know what I'm saying? So again, it was like, to give you an idea, you know what I'm saying, like at the apex of it, you know what I'm saying, I had like, my last album featured Just Blaze, even though he didn't produce in the last album, which was whack. He should have produced the album, but he was on Just Blaze, you know what I'm saying, Frequency was on that joint. I know he did some joint, he did the Eminem joint. It was a bunch of dudes on there, you know what I'm saying, like I said, bunch of like heavy hitters, any Static Selector, whatever. But I say that to say, I was spoiled as an artist. You know what I'm saying? It was like so many different artists coming through, producers, people just being like, yo, here's a record, here's a record, here's a record, da da da, just because of the situation and the buzz I was building, you know? So it was like I had an unreleased Knife Wonder joint that was supposed to go on that album. Like, I mean, all kind of records, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just to give you an idea, like, of those names, you know? Like, so I didn't really think of production until later on when I left hip hop alone and I was by myself, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, how am I going to record? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to make music? And so the short version of this story, that question, that answer was, I met an entrepreneur who hit me the game. You know what I'm saying? He gave me some seed capital and I started my first studio and that's how I learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, and ever since, everywhere I go, I got a home studio, as you can see. Like, I always have a home studio everywhere. And yeah, I just love to make music now, any kind of form, any production, writing, whatever. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your creative process earlier on.
Right now, my creative process is a little like different than most, I would say. I feel like what I'm doing is kind of backwards. I'm like not creating, and I say that purposely. I'm doing like a lot of like improv creation right now. So it's like I told you before, freestyle. I'm doing like a lot of freestyle. So on one hand, I have a show on TikTok which is doing well. People like it. They see that, whatever. But on the other hand, what I'm trying to do is sort of like reverse engineer emotion with delivery. You know, like I'm really trying to look at things in different ways. Like I feel like if you know how you like look at something, and I said reverse engineer specifically because you know how you look at a problem and you're trying to figure out like, or a successful product, and you're like, how is that done? And like, what is this lacking? So for me, I feel like one of the things that I'm lacking is like conveying emotion strongly through records. Not all the time. Some records I hit it, but I'm saying I want to do it in a way that's compelling. Almost like how when you watch like a Godfella or you watch a Martin Scorsese movie or you watch certain things, it's like compelling. So again, the difference between now and then was I was always on a time clock. A lot of people didn't understand that. So I'm always writing. I'm writing like 3 verses in an hour. I'm writing like a song, 3 songs in like whatever, like a day, whatever the case was, because I had such a lot of time because, you know, so-and-so, Rihanna's this day and this one's this day and blah, blah, blah is this day. So I got to get in where I can fit in, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always like writing fast. But now since I've had the time to just like sit back, I'm like, man, I can write when I want to write. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can do what I want to do. You know, shout out to Killer Mike, man. He just won the Grammy, the best hip hop award. God bless that brother. You know, my last album too. God bless that brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember like literally, that's a good example. Like, I remember meeting him, right? I'm segueing, but just bear with me.
No. We like it, man.
When I'm in Atlanta, right? I'm making this album I'm referring to called Success Serve Code. So I'm making this album. I'm doing all my features. I'm getting my features. And so Killer Mike comes in and he's one of the features. So like, all right, bet. So he comes in, he lays his verse. You know what I'm saying? We start talking for a little bit, but then he lays his verse. So I'm like, that's dope. That's dope. I'm excited. I'm lit. But then he's like, you know what, yo? He's like, I'm gonna do that over for you, brother. Don't even worry about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, word. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah. He's like, I like to do things certain way. I was like, but you know, the process, because we talked about the creative process, I found it very interesting because he freestyled it. I thought it was fire. I'm like, yo, let's do it. Let's rock out. But then he's like, nah, I got you. I'm gonna do something else. So I just remember thinking to myself, man, everybody has such a different process. You know what I'm saying? Like the verse was fire, obviously. You know what I'm saying? It made the album. Yeah, it's dope. You know what I'm saying? History in the making. Yeah.
So, can you talk to us a little bit about Disco D?
He's the one I said committed suicide. early on.
Right.
So like, you know, RIP Disco D, you know what I'm saying? David, good dude. I mean, one of the best dudes I ever met, you know what I'm saying? In fact, you asked me, the first question was when I got into music. So like I was watching that Fade to Black documentary. After I saw that, I started doing like a lot of research. This was like before the net was really even popping like that, you know? So like, but I've always been ahead of the curve. So I knew that that's where the future was. So I'm sitting there, I'm writing on forum boards. I'm like, yo, listen, whoever's out here, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'll carry crates. I was like, you know what I'm saying, clean the dishes, like whatever. I was like, somebody just give me a chance to do something, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, he was the person who responded. He was like, yo, come to my studio, you know what I'm saying? So I go to Williamsburg, you know what I mean? I sit down with him, like literally 20 minutes into the interview, smoke like 2 joints. He's like, yo, you hired, here's $500, chill, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, cool, crazy. So I turn around at the time, I meet a young Benny Blanco. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, Benny, I don't know Benny Blanco at the time, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But Benny Blanco is Benny Blanco now, but it's crazy. So I'm standing there, I'm like, yo, what up? You know what I'm saying? And I was the manager. So I'm like managing him and the interns in the studio. It's just wild, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but the caveat to that was we would get to use the studio whenever he would leave. So me, Benny, you know what I'm saying? We will all just be rotating, using the studio, like working on music, while we doing like stuff for disco, you know what I'm saying? And like, God bless that brother, you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for him, I don't know if me or Benny would have really had like, you know, dope shots to really make things happen, you know what I'm saying? In fact, Benny got a lot of his start from that situation. Benny will tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's real talk. I mean, it's crazy because like, for me, it was sad, you know what I'm saying? It was a sad situation. It was like, when he died, I tried to stay in that building. I tried to stay with the situation. I tried to stay with Benny. I tried to stay with it, but it was like too hard for me. Like I couldn't really rock with it. It didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt almost like we just was like kind of using him in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All his connects, all his equipment, everything like that. And it just was like, he's dead. He's gone. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, at the same time, I also understand this dog eat dog world and people have to move on and people have to do whatever. But it's just, it's wild. You know what I'm saying? The things you see behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? And like, he was really going through it. You know what I'm saying? He really was like, he should have been a multi-millionaire. He should have been like really popping. His last record that really was popping was on the 50 Cent Massacre album. That record sold 10 million records. He only got like 4,000 and change for that record. You know what I'm saying? That's like crazy. 50 Cent made him eat the sample. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously 50 Cent ain't taking that hit. And granted, he should have did his paperwork. He should have been behind it. He should have cleared it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy how people you think care about you treat you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bird's eye view, a lot of different things. And that definitely led to his suicide. You know what I'm saying? People call him crazy or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's whatever. That's one part of it. Like, how would you feel if you feel like you you earned millions?
Yeah.
Get your money, you know what I'm saying? Like that would make me strong. I don't know, I'm a strong dude. That would make me kind of crumble too, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, just a very hard situation. But God bless that man, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you one thing about him, you know. He was the type of dude that I told you about. I lost a son, you know what I'm saying? My wife was in Canada at the time. She was pregnant at the time. And like, you know, it was a tough situation. But the bottom line is the baby was born early, you know what I'm saying? He was alive, but he was born early. So it was like a situation where, you know, he was underdeveloped. And I had to get out the country. I had to go to Canada fast to go see him, you know what I'm saying? Because his time was short, you know, like, so I had to like figure out a way. I had no cash, and like, you know, I was also working for Disco, like working for him full time. And I'm just telling him like, yo, he was like, yo, say no more. Yo, he bought my plane ticket, gave me some money. He was like, yo, just go do what you do, yo. You know what I'm saying? Come back whenever you need to. You know what I mean? I never forgot that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, you know, this dude got the world like around him going crazy and stuff. And he's still generous enough to go into his pockets, even to stop his functions, his operations, you know what I'm saying? To take care of what I'm doing, you know, and I never forgot that, you know, and people I've known for decades wouldn't do that for me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just, you lose good ones, man. You lose good ones, you know what I'm saying? That's life. So God bless him, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. God bless him. God bless his son as well.
Of course.
Man, crazy. You know, I'm listening to you speak, and all I keep remembering is you saying that now you're trying to, you know, when you do stuff to have that feeling come out, right? Yeah. And just speaking to you, man, it comes out naturally. You know what I mean?
A lot of people.
It's crazy.
I appreciate
it. So let's talk about let's talk a little bit about, working on your first project. How does that come about? What is it that gets you to the point of, okay, you know what, I'm ready to put out something for the world to hear?
So I did like a lot of different things after disco died. I'm running around. I decided I took a conscious path to go underground. I didn't want to go like where Benny was going. I was like whatever with that. So I was like underground with it. I'm doing all the SOBs, the shows, the everything in New York you can think of. I call it the chitlin circuit. You know what I'm saying? I'm running around doing that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I was rocking though. You know what I mean? Anybody who saw me, I mean, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? I'm legendary to some of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm doing 2-3 shows a night. I'm cracking. I'm doing any song, any verse, any feature. I'm going crazy. So at this point, it's like, they're like, yo, this dude is going wild with it. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm learning the internet at the same time. So it's like simultaneously, I'm connecting with all the people that are in power right now. The Karen Civils of the world, the Rob Markmans, the whoever you can think of. You know what I'm saying? Any and everyone you can think of. Charlemagne's, the Angela Yee's. Everyone was like, it's sort of at this base, this apex. It was a beautiful time. The blog era is what most call it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, by the way, they try to write me out of it, but they know they know what it is. I don't even want to talk about that. I said the blog era because they got a whole series out there right now with that. But I'm not gonna talk negative about people because that's not my style anymore. So God bless those brothers. Everyone has their own story and way they tell it. I'm gonna tell my side of it one day too. But anyway, bottom line, it was a beautiful time. So I got to a point where it was like, okay, I need to like really drop an album right now. I need to drop something that's gonna be different, that's gonna do something, that's gonna make something work. So like Dan Grease, I mentioned earlier, right before this time, had called me up to Vacant Lot Studios. He's like, yo, I told you, he's like, features, I'm doing whatever. So he's like, yo, come up, write some records. I'm like, all right, whatever, bet. I'm up there, I'm writing whatever. You know what I'm saying? This time I'm seeing like Max B, French Montana, I'm seeing all these people coming through, blah, blah, blah. Again, that's when that whole wave was coming up too, you know what I'm saying? So I'm standing there, literally Grease was like, yo, he was like, he separated us, which was funny in hindsight. I think about it now, but he's a smart dude, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, listen, he's like, that ain't your lane. He's like, trust me, you know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, stay over here, whatever. And with that being said, he executive produced the first album, you know what I'm saying? I think he had like 4 beats on the first album. He executive produced the whole overall joint. Shout out Ariel Borgio too, the engineer on that project. He definitely like did all the engineering and basically executive produced a lot of it too. He's now a Grammy winner and all that stuff too. He's done a lot of great work as well. Great friend, you know what I'm saying? Much love to him. I used to like really rock with him heavy, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's just what it is, you know what I'm saying? We dropped that album, it's called Minute After Midnight. I did no features purposely. In fact, let me phrase that. There was only supposed to be one feature. There's only supposed to be one feature, and it's supposed to be Sean P. God bless the dead, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, yeah, he's a dope MC, you know what I'm saying? But a dope human being on top of that, you know? It was timeline issues, you know what I'm saying? He was just like, yo, come through. I was like, I remember when I first hit him, I was like, yo, I'm trying to get you on this album. So I opened up for him. He was like, yo, you dope. I was like, yo, I'm trying to get you on this album, son. He's like, all right, how much you got? I was like, yo, I'm broke. He's like, yo, you got some weed? I was like, yeah. He's like, dude. I was like, all right, bet. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of dude he was. You know what I'm saying? He was mad cool. I wish, God, that's one of the dudes that, you know what I'm saying, I wish that I would have got a chance to really work with before he passed. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Minute After Midnight, man, yeah, he's a beast.
You guys didn't get to record at all?
Nah, never got. He died. Okay. He died shortly after. I think he died really recently after something. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, it just never worked out. You know how I go with those situations.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, we just dropped the album, and again, I did it differently. I remember at the time. Shout out Joe Budden, you know what I'm saying? It was me, him. We was doing things through Amalgam Digital at this time, if you remember. It was like a different time period. It was like this digital. You don't probably remember that because it was like a dinosaur company, but like definitely Joe Budden dropped the album on there. I was dropping the album on there. It was a couple people like that. So anyway, I dropped my album to really good reviews, really good success. A lot of people really rocked with it. You know what I'm saying? It was like one of those things. It was a game changer for me. It was like opening the doors up in a lot of different ways. I started like after that touring, doing shows, getting feature money, like blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I had an OG on the album, you know what I'm saying? I think Status Selector was on that album too. Shout out to Status Selector. I think he did 2 cuts on there as well. I can't remember everyone else. I'm sorry off the top of my head, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, blame it on the mind, not the heart, y'all. But it's a classic album, man. Minute After Midnight. Check that out.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the online video series called Bars.
Classic, man. Classic. You know what's crazy, yo? It's sad, man, because sometimes you can be too ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? You can be like way too ahead of the curve. Like, so mind you, Bars was done in like that's good research, by the way. That's good research. Seriously, like Bars was a series where I did basically every week. It was every Thursday. I would go around all the 5 boroughs and I would just get dope rappers to rap beside me. Literally just drop whatever. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, this is a weekly series. Like people wasn't even thinking about stuff like that. The only 2 people that ever did anything besides that was Mickey Fax and Crooked Eye. Before that, it was nothing like that. We was like, and it was all, we all had different things. That's what made it ill too. Cause like Crooked had some sort of like song style series and Mickey had some different sort of series. Mine was a video series, whatever. The point is, definitely pioneering, got millions of views way before I even understood what that was. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, like crazy. I ended up even years later erasing the channel because I didn't even care. It was wow. I was like, hindsight. Anyway, just the bottom line is it was beautiful, man. I remember featuring people like I think about it now. I feature people like Math Hoffa was a good example. You know what I'm saying? Like I would use that as a great example. Shout out to Math Hoffa. You know what I'm saying? He too big for me now, probably. I don't know. Shout out to the homie Math. Like I remember, like literally, I went to his hood. Like I remember people. He was just after that punch thing. Like when he punched the dude, and like nobody on the blogs wanted to rock with him. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, F that, man. You gonna rock with me? We rocking. You know what I'm saying? I had him and his homies on there. Shout out Larceny. Shout out D Chambers. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know, I had a lot of dope people in that series though. I can't remember every. I had Blue on there. I had like homeboy Sandman, Mickey Fax, obviously. Man, it was so crazy, yo. If you could imagine that time period, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like all the names that you see now, like a lot of just dope MCs, and I just be like, yo, let's just rock. And yeah, it was crazy, very successful, very successful.
So, talk a little bit about the 2008 Buzz Factor Award.
That was beautiful. Shout out to the Underground Music Awards. I got that. I beat out Mickey Fax for that one. You know what I'm saying? I thought Mickey should have beat me for that one. I ain't gonna lie. You know, Mickey's a talented MC, by the way. If y'all don't know who Mickey Fax is, go check that.
Yeah.
Beast, you know what I'm saying? He actually runs a school right now, which is really cool, called Pendulum Inc. I like. That's really dope. But anyway, that was beautiful, man. Like that was my first award. You know what I'm saying? I felt very, very great about it. It was one of the things where it was like the first time I felt like validated or something, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like, cause if you wasn't in New York, again, this is like really pre-internet the way it is now. There wasn't Twitters, there wasn't none of that. It was just different. It was blogs. Blogs was running everything. And if you don't got the press behind you, you don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like, I might as well have been a king, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'm on all these blogs. And on top of that, I'm in the streets heavy. So it's like, I know everybody that's running everything. So it was wild, but at the same time, it was almost like, I don't know. I was like, okay, cool. But then I felt like I don't really do this for awards. So I was like, I liked it. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? But then I thought about it. And if you listen to my music, a lot of it, I talk about that. Like, I don't do it for Grammys. I don't do it for whatever. So it was like, I appreciated it on one hand, but I almost felt kind of like, you know, I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, not as an award, but not this like negative, but more like, this is not what I'm in it for. You know what I'm saying? So like, again, keeping my head in the ground, so to speak, and not trying to like, get wiped up in like awards and you know what I'm saying, all that chaos of that. So like I'm very humbled by awards and honors when people say things. Now what I do is I say by the grace of God. That's what I say right now, you know, because I'm trying to like just, you know, separate the ego from it, if that makes sense. Right. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this takes me to ask you about this next project, The Breakfast Club. But I want to take a second to, I don't know if you remember, in 2000, it had to be like 2009, I had a chance to interview, I don't know if you remember a young lady by the name of Zamara.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, she's the one that actually kind of put me on to you.
Oh, dope.
Back then. And then I had the pleasure of meeting you. I believe it was at a Brooklyn hip hop festival, maybe.
I'm sure, yeah, probably one of those things.
the CD, The Breakfast Club that I posted not that long ago, because that's what happened. I was going through my CDs and I came across it, and I'm like, damn, Donny Goines. I was like, I wonder what's up with him. And you know, I met you after the interview there, and you gave me the CD or whatever. So I want to say that is one of my favorite ones, though. I like a lot of the other stuff.
And real talk, sure. I'm sorry that my memory doesn't serve me well, you know what I'm saying? But I tell you this too, I blame it on the mind, not the heart. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling you before, like I try to remember everybody. I try to remember everybody's names and all that. That was one of the reasons why I succeeded very well in the underground scene, because like Zamero probably attests, I'm pretty sure I probably met her in the scene somewhere or something. I'm very just sociable, nice. I just be like, yo, what's up? Da, da, da. That's just how I always
Nah,
been.
you were like that when I met you. She wasn't with me. But I remember I met you and I was telling you, and you were just the way you are, man. You were humble. You said what's up. You was like, yo, here's my CD and everything, man. It was really dope.
Man, it means a lot.
But you,
Breakfast Club, man. I'm gonna talk about it. One of my favorite albums, man. I
yeah,
only dropped 3 official albums, so I gotta drop at least one more. But you know, 3 official albums I dropped.
So talk to us about, you know, leading up to that project. I mean, you had people like Kwame, Planet Asia, Static Selector.
Oh man, it was amazing. It was an amazing guest list. Actually, it was an amazing guest. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna talk about that project a lot, because that was my favorite project, and I'm gonna tell you why. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Minute After Midnight was a very serious project. It was like something where I didn't want any features. It was dark purposely. If you actually look at it from like, if you look at the analogy of it, Minute After Midnight is meant to talk darkness. You even hear the title, is meant to sound dark. Breakfast Club, awake, da da da, up, morning, light. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted it to be sort of a party festival vibe. I wanted it to be like, okay, if I was in a party with so and so, how would this sound? And da 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 da, blah 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 blah. And like that's what I ended up doing. So I would just literally invite people to the studio, and we would just jam. We would just come up with different ideas right on the spot, wild out, you know, bug out with it. Or if we didn't prepared it, it was just an energy. It was like fun, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like for example, you mentioned Planet Asia. I was with Planet Asia when he wrote and he did the joint. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Whatever. So you know, like a lot of people, I invited them to my session because I was just like having a good time, and I had. Shout out to Stadium Red that was based in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all heard that studio. Definitely was a prolific studio in its time. I don't know if it's still there or not, but Just Blaze used to be out of there. Old Man used to be out of there. A bunch of people. Anyway, I used to be out there with Ariel. You know what I'm saying? So like we was just rocking. I also enjoyed it because it was like that first project. I felt like a lot of pressure. It was more like I just had to write something. It was like I had to write something serious, and I had to be like serious. And then I was a little serious on this one, but I was just mainly having fun. And like, I wasn't just, and I did it 6 months after the first one. So I just literally was just jump right back in. I was like, let's have fun. And it's crazy too, because like a lot of features that was supposed to be on it didn't make it, which was kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Black Milk should have made it. You know what I'm saying? Jean Grey should have made it. Who else? There's a couple. Wait, I'm trying to get the names. Cuddy should have been on it. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple different people. It was crazy. Cuddy didn't like Dan Grease beats. Cuddy didn't like Grease beats. I was like,
wow.
what about that? I said different beats. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, here's a beat. Yeah, go, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it was fun though. It was fun. It was like a process where I didn't put too much pressure on anyone. I wasn't tripping. Shout out Amanda Diva. She was on there. SO, A Pinks. I mean, so many New Yorkers was on there, man. It was definitely a New York underground project for sure.
Right. Yeah, how was it working with Kwame?
Kwame, man, a legend. You know what I'm saying? A legend. Come on. You know what I'm saying? He gave me that record, me and Emilio Rojas. You know what I'm saying? That record is a beast.
Oh, Emilio Rojas, man. That's another one.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's underrated. He's just like me in a lot of situations. It sucks, you know what I'm saying? But also we make our choices, you know what I'm saying? We make our paths, right? So like, you know, unfortunately though, I feel like, for example, Kwame in that record, it's a good example. Like that record could have been big. Like me and Emilio could have shot it, like shot a video, like really went crazy with it, especially during that time period. But I just feel like the youngsters, even back then, didn't even know who Kwame was. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like weird. I just be like, you know, and I'm trying to pay older respect to dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be like, yo, this dude right here, da da da. You know what I'm saying? But like, they ain't catch on. A lot of people ain't catch on. So, you know, for example, I'll just make certain things. Like my single I chose was more current. You know what I'm saying? Like I had chose. Shout out Izzy Kizza and Shay Grand. I showed this song called She Likes. You know what I'm saying? It was a dope record. Like I remember MySpace premiered it. It was dope. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is it's just that I just felt like people didn't catch that. Like Digga was on there, as a matter of fact. Digga. A lot of people be like, yo, who's Digga? You know what I'm saying? Like Digga's a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like his production, he got some classic beats out there. You know what I'm saying? Who else was on that joint that's classic? I always had the track list on my man. But yeah, anyway, yeah. People, yeah.
Dope.
Buck Wild, I think, was on that project. Was he on that project? Buck Wild was on there, I feel like. Yeah, I think Buck Wild might have been there. Shout out to Buck Wild.
Think so. Yeah.
So how'd you link up with Rocksmith Tokyo?
They just saw the buzz. You know what I'm saying? And again, head of the curve movements. You know, I was thinking like merchandising and all that way before people was doing it. You know what I'm saying? They made me a shirt, limited edition. We went out there. I went out to Hollywood. We sold it. You know what I'm saying? Gave it out. You know, we was like I said, thinking ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? So again, when people was just thinking like, yeah, let's rock, let's just do rap. Nah, like the money's in merch too, yo. You bugging. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I already knew. Speaking of, Currency should have been on that album. I'm mad about that one too. Anyway, that's my fault. I don't even get to that story. But anyway, bottom line is, you know what I'm saying? Like the working with those people and just getting connects. I just loved it as a fan. That's all I can say. Like I had a good time as a fan, as an artist. And I forgot the question overall, but I can just say like connecting with people and just having a good process for me was the fun for me. So yeah, that's really what I remember a lot. Sorry if I segue from that question.
You're good. Now, at this time, were any of the labels knocking on your door? Because labels, you know, were pretty, you know,
Yeah.
hot and heavy
So,
around.
yeah, I mean, yes and no. Let me put it to this way, yes and no. So I had like a lot of like, it's crazy because again, innovation, I was thinking differently. So like, honestly speaking, I went to a couple meetings, I went to a couple labels, and like, it's weird. Like, I'll give you one example. I can give you two. I'll give you two examples. Def Jam. I'm gonna use Def Jam as an example, and I'm gonna use two power players right now, right? So I'm like, I go there the first time, I go meet Lenny S. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, because I know who Lenny S is. I just did an interview with Lenny. We just rocking, whatever. So I'm like, all right, let's talk. You know what I mean? We chatting, whatever. So I start talking to him about it. I'm like, yeah, man, maybe the label, da-da-da, whatever. But then I remember him specifically being like, yo, like, my advice to you is you shouldn't sign. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you shouldn't sign. He was like, honestly speaking, and he was ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, because he was telling me about the inner workings of the label and how things weren't working and da-da-da. And he was telling me about a specific artist. I don't want to blast the artist, but he was saying at the time, he was like, yo, this dude signed here, blah, 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 but we ain't putting him out, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it be. You know what I mean? Whatever. So he sort of like reinstilled into me that independent factor that I had. I was waving the flag heavy, you know what I'm saying? So if you hear it through my music, my movements, etc. So then the second time I went up there, like I was like more like it was more a request from Shy Money XL. You know what I'm saying? So like I go up there this time, he's like the president of A&R, something like that. I don't remember what he was up there, you know what I mean? But anyway, I did a freestyle. I'm an SOBs. I just did a quick freestyle, but I shut it down fast. You know what I'm saying? I was like, da-da-da-da-da-da, out, gone. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he was mad impressed. I remember him being so impressed when I walked in the room. I walked in Def Jam. He's jumping up and down like impressed. Like he's like, yo, da-da-da-da-da. So then I walk in there and I start just playing him music. But then it's like I could tell like his mood wasn't into the music. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just like, I guess this dude want me to go pop or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So the records I playing just wasn't hitting or something. So then he was like, I don't know. He was like, I told him that I said something that I probably in hindsight I shouldn't have said. I was like, yo, I got to do it my way, son. So I feel like I did something. I was just saying it like that. I'm like, yo, I ain't signing to nothing if I can't do it my way. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Because I was cocky because I had the right to be cocky. I had all this press behind me. I had everything moving. I didn't need nobody. You know what I'm saying? I had sponsorships, money, show money, like all kind of crap. I had a staff. I had a team by this point. I didn't really need nobody. So, you know what's crazy when I say that, to be honest? A lot of people don't give my credit. But like honestly speaking, the people like the J. Coles and the Kendricks, they was watching. They were seeing. See, like people like me and Mickey, I felt like we were a little too premature. You know what I'm saying? Like in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Mickey Facts was so ahead of the curve in certain ways. I remember thinking like that was my only real competition in my mind. I kept thinking like a lot. I'm like, man, he gets it. He understands. That's why he had that Honda commercial in 2006. That's why he was doing like the Cola collaborations, whatever he was doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I bet I'm gonna do it that way, but I'm gonna do it my way. You know what I'm saying? And like, I just felt like we didn't get enough like understanding. So like I didn't want to go to a record label. It was like I was in a place where it was like people was throwing money. People was like, yo, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm just like, You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, whatever. I'm kind of curbing them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like not even feeling it. I'm like, again, why would I give you a portion of something that I'm already making or I can make? And just to give you, just to be like, yo, it's like, what are you giving me? You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, I didn't feel impressed at that time. I wasn't very impressed by the label. So to be real with you, what I did, and this is why I go back to forward thinking. So when I dropped my third album, I told you, it was like, by this time I'm heavy. So I got everybody behind me supporting me. I'm in heavy features. My album had everything from Killer Mike, Bun B, Just Blaze, Static Selector, Fred the Godson, R.I.P., John Connor. I mean, on and on and on. I had some beast on my album. You know what I'm saying? Sponsored by Rockaware, whatever. Rocking. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm like behind the scenes where people don't know what I'm doing is I'm working out this deal. Everybody's like, yo, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? The whole time I'm trying to sign a direct deal with Apple Music. The whole time, 2010. You know what I'm saying? So I'm literally standing there. I'm talking to the head of music. Shout out to Greg Teese. I'm standing there like, yo, I don't want this label. I don't want all this stuff. I want to do different. The only people who did what I was trying to do before me was Wiz and Mac, R.I.P. to Mac Miller. Those are the only two artists who had the foresight to think about what I'm doing. And the only reason why they had that foresight was because they was with Rostrum Records and Arthur Pitt and all of them, and they had like very smart team behind them. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's neither here nor there. I'm only saying that to say people didn't understand what I was doing. like I'm standing there, I'm telling my team, like, yo, I'm like, listen, this digital stuff is about to be the future, yo. I'm telling you, yo, they about to start bankrolling people. You got to see it. And they're like, nah, son. Nah, son. You want to hear a secret? You want to hear something crazy? I had to. I couldn't stick. I don't even. Oh my God. Yo, it drives me crazy. I couldn't sell my last album. After I made the deal with Apple, my whole team disagreed with me. My whole team thought I was bugging. Everybody thought I was bugging. And it was like at the end of the day, producers and everybody was like, yo, whatever, you can't sell this album. We not finishing this album with you unless you promise to not sell this album retail. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, sorry, God, I don't even curse no more. You know what I'm saying? When I think about that in my mind, I'm like, you effing idiots, man. I'm like, you know, and obviously Apple Music came what it became and and so on and so forth. But it's like, sometimes you're just gonna be way too ahead. You know what I'm saying? People don't be seeing things. It's like literally I'm fighting my internal team to put this release out, to be like, yo, listen to me, man. This is huge. This is the move. Y'all worried about rocking a label. This is the move. This is the wave. And that was also the sort of the separation of me and music. That's where it really started at. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I was forced to not put that album out. I couldn't promote it. I couldn't sell it the way I wanted to sell it. So I dropped the album the first day and I never promoted it a day again. That was it. I was done with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was actually one of the worst experiences of my career, actually. And it's a big reason why I'm like very just like a year making in this album, calling these legends, getting these people on board, rocking with, doing all this work, getting these big sponsors, getting all this work all by myself, mind you, by myself. I just had, my team was like basically just like a face for me. You know what I'm saying? When I need a buffer, you know what I'm saying? But I'm the one in these meetings. I'm the one doing everything. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm standing there and I'm like, yo, you mean to tell me we get here after 5 years and I'm about to sign a deal with Apple. I'm about to drop an Apple on Apple Music or album on Apple Music. I'm about to be one of the first artists doing this. And you telling me I'm bugging? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, after that, I was kind of done. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and I went to Atlanta after that. I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
So that when you dropped that project, it came out through who?
It came out through Apple Music. No, it didn't. I didn't release it. In fact, I had to wait. That's the crazy thing. I had to put it out like a straight up dirt, like a regular, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the blog way, Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like put it out. I couldn't sell it. I was like, oh, can you imagine working on a project? I mean, if you put a money value on that project, I mean, at least 200K, $250,000, studio time, features, producers, etc. I mean, we talking heavy features, heavy work. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now we can't sell it. We're not gonna recoup. Now y'all getting scared now. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, but again, it's crossroads. I know they regret that too. We would have been millionaires. You know what I'm saying? My whole team, we'd have been millionaires. I promise you. But they couldn't see what I saw. You know, I saw Spotify. I remember going to Spotify in 2009. Being like, yo, listen, what's up? I want to work with y'all. I already see where y'all going. This is what I'm saying, like foresight.
That's early on, man. That's really early on.
But people, when you talking about ideas early on, sometimes they don't understand. So it's like you sitting there, I sound like a madman to them. I'm sounding like crazy to them, but I'm like, listen to me. This is what's gonna happen. These CDs obsolete, all of this obsolete. Even in my old interviews, you'll hear me saying it. And it's like, it was so whack because we could have really banked on that album. So
you basically ended up putting it out as if it was like a mixed CD.
Bingo. That's gonna be my official breakout album, B. It was crazy because like I got the spot on MTV. Like the whole week they shining my album. Like, yo, this dude about to drop. That's crazy. Blah blah blah. Then literally at the last minute, I gotta be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, just toss it out. I was like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. And that was my first, like, that was my first real slap in the face with the music industry. It was just one of them situations. I was like, wow. I mean, you gotta understand, like, I was contractually obligated not to do certain things. So it was almost like, for real? You know what I'm saying? Then when I left, they ain't even let me take my hard drive. They ain't even let me take my music. You know what I'm saying? I had to like get a lawyer. I don't like talking on the negative so much. All I can say is these were learning lessons that I had to learn, and I had to like go through them. It was my journey and my path, you know. So it is what it is. It's life.
Got you, man. That's crazy, man. Before I ask you, is there any way? Are you able to do anything with that album nowadays?
Now I just put it out. Who cares? You know what's funny? Like, I don't even like y'all probably the first people I talk about this. Y'all probably the first people who ever heard this story and heard what I'm talking about exactly. So the bottom line is, I just feel like, you know, after a while, you develop a bad taste in your mouth. You just don't. Why would you go to the same restaurant if you don't like the food, right? I personally like have had enough experiences to where I feel like, okay, I'm good with that. You know, I'm okay with that. You know, that's why I don't care about, you know, the accolades or signing and things. And I can give you a story about how I've been like, I should have been a XSL freshman, but guess what? Politics and no money. I should have done this. I can go all kind of randomness with you. But the bottom line is, you know, I understand it's a money game. People in there to make money. I'm in it for passion. We're in it for two different reasons. You know what I'm saying? If I can't meet in the middle with you, then I can't meet you at all. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just feel like, honestly speaking, all of that is old news to me. All of that is just old. It's like it don't even equate to who I am or where I'm at right now, you know? So with that being said, I know I'm going to create another body of work. I'm not sure when, how I'm going to release it, what the case is going to be, but I know like I got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it from a real standpoint, and people are either going to like really love it or really hate it, but it's going to be really real. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, like the way that, like I said again, it all, as I speak about it, it makes me think about, you know, just all the pain, the sweat equity I put in to build what is here now. I don't even get a mention. Like a lot of people be like, yo, they didn't even mention me. But, you know, it's funny. Like, I understand that because I have been blackballed. I know why people blackball me. You know, I'm going to say this. Sorry to Weezy F, baby. You know what I'm saying? Lil Wayne. I'm going to say this publicly for the first time, but I'm going to catch him one day and publicly, formally apologize to the man. You know what I'm saying? But that's another story, you know, for another time. It's like, all I can tell you is I've learned from all of these situations. I've learned from these mistakes, these errors, these tribulations, these trials. And I just want to bring this new love, this new peace, this new energy back to the forefront. And that's why I'm taking it slow. I'm just like, you know, like my grandmother always say, pills in the applesauce. I'm just feeding people slowly. You know what I'm saying? Just coming out, freestyling here and there, song here and there, whatever. But I definitely feel like it's time soon to really talk on a larger scale. So don't be surprised if you hear a new body of work coming soon.
No doubt, no doubt. I just want to double back real quick, because for those that may not, you know who Donny Goines is, and you've mentioned, I think you've mentioned probably like damn near everybody in hip hop that you've worked with, which is crazy. But
Right.
On that album, The Breakfast Club that we were talking about, Buckwild was on there.
Yeah.
But then you also had another monster who was Rain.
Oh yeah, damn, Rain is a beast. Yes, man. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Rain.
You had on the same album. I mean, on the same track. You had Rain.
Shout out to Big Lou. Big Lou killed that. Reks from
Reks
too, man. Shout out to
Termanology.
Yeah, man, they killed it, yo. Matter of fact, that was hard right there. Matter of fact, that was the first record that got me on High 97. I'll never forget it. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Static Selector. Much love to Peter Roseberg for this too. I remember like when I first met Static Selector, he was like, yo, come to the studio. He was in Brooklyn. He's in that basement, you know what I'm saying, wherever he was at. So I just go over there, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, like, what's up? Da, da, da. We ain't even really talk much. I don't even think we even vibe like that. He was just like, yo, I was like, play something, whatever, write something, whatever. He started doing whatever he was doing. He came out with that sample. What the F you expected? I was like, woo! I was like, yeah, that's it. So literally, I wrote it right there. I mean, I wrote it. I remember so quickly. I wrote it like an hour and a half. Da, 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 da. he sent it to Peter Rosenberg. It was on the radio like the next couple of days. It was like crazy, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, hard, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I remember that too because I went up there. Peter Rosenberg, he's brought me up there because of the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Rosenberg. You know, that album was really dope, man. I really had a lot of good memories with that one. I was one of the first artists, as a matter of fact, I had the whole Urban Plaza to myself. I was one of the first artists to do that with Live Nation. The first. Can you imagine that? An independent artist, 2009, 10, whatever, like doing a whole show Live Nation. Granted, I didn't sell it out or nothing, but I'm talking about just sheer power, being able to things that I'm able to do. You know what I'm trying to say? And it was hard because I couldn't translate. Like I said, my ideas were a lot forward thinking. They just couldn't catch on. The ones who did, they millionaires now. They profit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah, man. You like I said, a lot of heavy hitters. And the only reason why I mentioned it because I know you being, you're humble and everything, but the fact is that they wouldn't work with you if you weren't dope. So
yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
That's pretty dope, man. But you also ended up you created your own what was it, your own label?
I did a lot of things since then, man. I've done all kind of different things. I've definitely started a label, but the label thing is just more like a name. You know what I'm saying? It's just me. My thing is Donny. I'm more of a creative guy. To be honest, ever since that whole like sort of departure, I call it a sabbatical. I just took a hiatus. I was gone for a while. You know what I'm saying? I learned about entrepreneurship. I was living in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. You know, I was living out there a couple of years. Then I got into the cannabis industry, doing like a lot of like promotion, marketing strategies, things like that. Then I started bouncing around doing content creation with individual clients, which brought me to Hawaii, which is where I'm at right now, so on and so forth. Like creativity in of itself is limitless. There's no time limit on it. There's no stating what I'm gonna do. You might hear from me in a couple of years. I might make one of the best-selling movies in the world. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's gonna be for me moving forward. I just know that I'm ready for it. I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a place where God has put me at peace with everything. I'm harmonious, and I want no ill will towards anybody. I just want to work and just create and just do things that people will enjoy. That's it. So God willing, I will be able to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, talk to us about this 12-hour freestyle. How does that even work? How does that happen? How do you freestyle for 12 hours?
I broke a Guinness World Record once upon a time. I rapped for 12 hours straight, a little bit over 12 hours straight. I did it live on streaming before people even understood things like that, before they even understood. I think about it now in hindsight. I'm like, damn, people just was not catching on. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I knew that was going to be a thing, by the way, live streaming. I knew that was going to be a huge thing. So I with MTV2, I had set it up to where it's like I would straight stream through the specific platform that they were using. You know what I'm saying? I forget how I did it, whatever. But the bottom line is I just did it. I freestyled for like 12 hours straight. And the whole thing was just simple, like sitting there and just the only rule was you couldn't take a break. But it's not that simple. I'm saying like that. Yeah. It was hectic. You can't take a 3-second break. So you had to literally just write. You had to rap continuously. And by this time, I was already weathered as a performer. So, it really didn't make much like effort in that regard. But it was definitely a challenge. I mean, if you think about that for a second. No bathroom break. no nothing. No food. No anything. You just got to sit there. And I'm literally freestyling too. So I'm just like freestyling whatever's coming to my mind. And it's just like, that was a challenge. I have a crazy life. So I feel like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I tell people. They be like, for real? Be like, yeah. And it's just, again, I wish that in hindsight, I would have had a forward-thinking team around me. People that would have really know how to do things certain ways. You know what I'm saying? But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I won't do it again. But
yeah. Yo, did you ever cross paths with Supernet?
No, but obviously a legend, you know what I'm saying? Like he's definitely a lyrical legend when it comes to the freestyle. I've run into many people. I will say with freestyling, I've been very blessed. I've been in like a lot of ciphers with people a lot, you know what I'm saying? So like in the very beginning of my career, that's what sort of like helped me to get my sword sharp. So like one of the very first things I did, I remember like I did with one with like Koji Rap and Iron Solomon. I don't remember the other dudes, you know what I'm saying? But those dudes are sharp enough. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm rapping with those dudes. And then I remember like, you know what I'm saying, I got the advice from him. He was just like, yo, always keep your sword sharp. So I always in the back of my mind, I remembered that. And I was like, always, I'm gonna start freestyling. So that's why if you see a lot of my interviews when I'm on the radio or whatever, I freestyle it. I don't even write writtens, even if they don't like it, because I'm just like, I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm having fun with it. I'm doing what I want. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the whole point to that, I just say like, I like dudes like Supernatural. I like Eminem. Eminem is my favorite lyricist. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody really can top him lyrically when it comes to like just lyrics. You know what I'm saying? We talking lyrics. Well, that's an opinion. I'm sure people hate that when I say that. I like the freestyle right now, and I do a dope show on my live, my TikTok. I just freestyle. Literally, I get some classic beats and I rock, and people love it. They enjoy it. And I enjoy it because it's a natural sort of like fun vibe. And like, that's what I enjoy doing. I love hip hop. It reminds me of being like 17, 18 years old in Harlem, being in the cyphers, just rapping, just having a good time. And that's where I feel like, that's why I'm pushing this agenda forward, because that's what I feel like we're missing right now. Sometimes we're missing that fun of it. Everything is like tough and everything gotta be serious. Everybody in drill music right now is Batman or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, crazy with it, but yo, I mean, because now R&B Pop Smoke, I like Pop Smoke, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get what.
I just had to say, you know, it's the current thing right now. If it was something different, I'd make fun of something else that's current. Anyway, I like hip hop, man. I like the essence of hip hop, and one of those essence is freestyling. A lot of people truly forget that, and you know, I'm here to just, you know, remind them, give them gentle reminders. That's it.
What's up?
On certain things, you know. But yeah, whatever. Go ahead. We good.
What are you currently working on?
Me. That's what I'm currently working on. See, as long as I'm good right now, anything will come out of it. Like I said a second ago, I live in Hawaii. I got all the music equipment I need. I can write a song every day if I felt like it. I've worked with some of the best in the world. It's not a question of like if, it's a question of when. You know what I'm saying? And like how. You know what I mean? Like I'm really in a place where, I put it to you this way. I haven't dropped a single record this year because I want to make sure when I say something, I say it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in a place, that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, okay, we're going to wait. We're going to chill. We're going to work, you know? And it might be meticulous. It might be whatever. But like I said earlier, Killer Mike has also re-inspired me as well. You know, like I'm like, okay, now the age thing is gone. We ain't got to talk about that no more. That's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So now all I got to do is just make a great body of work and get it out there. And that's what I got to talk about right now. So like, yeah, I mean, expect an amazing body of work when it comes out. That I can promise you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm working on that, but it's more about like, it's an internal thing right now. Like I'm conceptualizing it in my mind. I'm thinking about it. You know, it's like, you know how somebody trains for a boxing fight right now? That's where I'm at right now. I'm training. I'm like getting my bars up. I'm thinking of concepts. I'm like, I'm getting it, you know? So God willing, if it comes out this summer, then yeah. If it comes out this summer, great. If it comes out late this year, great. You know, hints, we will see. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens.
No doubt.
You know, again, that's what I'm saying. It's about organic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what I enjoy. And it's like, a lot of people, realistically, they get so, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive with rap. And that's one thing that really I try to like break in my come up. That's why, like, you notice a lot of these rappers were rocking with me and working with me and things like that. Because again, I'm not getting on the stage trying to outshine you. I'm just trying to get on the stage and shine with you. You know what I'm saying? So again, I hope that makes sense to people out there listening and watching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You mentioned photography earlier on. Is that another avenue that you are going to pursue outside of music?
I mean, camera's right behind me. You know what I'm saying? Definitely so. I mean, I definitely feel like, how can I say this the right way? So, there's no right or wrong way to say this. When I did a lot of photography and cannabis and stuff, I was working with a lot of cannabis companies and things like that. They basically they deleted my pages. They deleted my pages with all my photography and all my things like that. Censorship, once again, learning about different things. Sucks. You know what I'm saying? You can be really good at something and, you know, people had to catch up. You know, like I said, I was working really hard at cannabis advocacy, and I was using photography to push that message out. And unfortunately, because of politics and legislation and things of that nature, I'm not able to do things like that. I'm not able to really go out there and just have a good time with it. And that really sucks. You know what I'm saying? So I hope the world catches up. You know what I'm saying? Like other than that, I'm just photography and photos and flowers and, you know, like butterflies and stuff like that right now. You know, that's it.
As far as social media, though, where can everybody keep up with you at?
All the usual suspects, you know, all the usual things. My name is Donny Goines, Donny Goines. All you gotta do is like type it in somewhere, you'll find something. And you know, whatever social platform you prefer, I'm on all of them. Well, I'm not gonna say all of them. There's so many out there. I'm just on the main ones basically, and mainly using TikTok because that's where I'm doing my live show at. So I'm doing it there, and I usually like put snippets on the IG and like Twitters or X, whatever it's called, blah blah blah. But yeah, just hit me up if you ever want to like work or like talk or chat. You ever need somebody to listen? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. Want to talk about some dope medicinal plants? You know, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, I'm not hard to find, and I'm very, like I said, I'm always in the same logic, man. I'm always one-to-one. I'm always like down to talk to people. I'm always for the people, and that will never stop. So, you know, hopefully I meet some of you guys. I hope you enjoy what I'm saying, and yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Yes, sir. No doubt, man. Donny Goines, once again, thank you very much. We appreciate. Thank you for taking the time too. I know there's a time difference. You out there in Hawaii, we are here on the East. But thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you're doing well. Stay healthy, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And yeah, look, if you know, I'm gonna try to keep my pulse with you, man. Because now that I kind of found you again and reconnected, man, I'm really curious. And you know, I want to see what you do, you know, coming in the future.
Connect, like I said, and again, I appreciate the energy and love. Thank you guys for doing your homework, for doing a great interview. I really do appreciate it. This is one of my this is the first formal interview I've done in a long time. I feel like I haven't really talked about music at all to people, you know. So thank you for having me on here. I do appreciate that. I hope the viewers, I hope you found this interesting. I know I'm long-winded sometimes, but I hope they were funny stories. I hope you enjoyed them. And I have much more to talk about. So follow your boy. You already know.
Yes, sir. And I just want to say, man, we you know, changing the hip hop guards, like this is why I have this on, because this is like our little slogan. You know, we kind of try to represent the true hip hop feeling. You know what I mean? Not just, you know, we just try to embody that feeling. And you, sir, represent what this means to us. So, you know what I mean? So thank you for that.
Yo, what's good? This your boy Donny Goines, changing to the hip hop guard with Sincere Uncle E. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Check your boy out, and you already know what it is, man. Let's get it.